in today's vlog, I have to ground myself because I've been feeling very disconnected and uninspired, and when I am inspired, it's very fleeting. And in order to do that, I was like, Jess, what you used to do was go out in the evenings at twilight or dusk, somewhere around in there, and hang out outside by yourself in the silence and do your quiet observations and chillness. And that is such my vibe to do. So I'm going to start doing that again. Probably not every night, because that's kind of hard to do every night, especially if you're like playing video games or something and all of a sudden it's nighttime. Or making art, for that matter. And first and foremost, I must show you my new friend here. Can you see it? It's an old oak piano stool from the early 1900s. We found it while we were antiquing. So it's my new little friend. On top of my stool that I'm now sitting on, we got a couple other things, so I will grab those and show you a little show and tell. It's small. I wouldn't control your expectations. I'll be right back. Just put you right there. Can you watch my door stopper Cthulhu real fast? I got Eye in the Sky record, Alan Parsons Project, The Far Side, and I don't know if have you guys seen The Far Side? Got The Far Side 4, and then Doug picked out Benjamin Rush, which he's related to, so he's going to read this and learn more. Aliens. Now, Aliens is not based off of a book. This book is based off of the movie. It is a novelization based off the screenplay, but this is a first printing from 1986. And I thought maybe that would be an interesting read. It's in terrible condition, so I don't know why it's in this plastic. I'll get back to you. I'll read this and I'll figure that out. Maybe I'll get inspired. And then, of course, the stool. And that's all we got. That was it. A mini little show and tell. One of the ways for me to reset and ground myself with my art is either doing something outside of my norm, just really sporadic and not thought out. Usually ends up being minimalistic in some ways. Other times a hot mess. The other thing I do though is also just like nature scenes. So I'm going to do a nice nature scene with a wall. Gonna get that out of my system. You know, in the last video when I said something about a dream I had about making moody landscapes, that's kind of in my brain, so that's going to spill over. But I'm going to do more of a proper piece this time. It's a bigger one. Huzzah! I've been told my cadence in which I talk is a lot like my dad's. Lots of pauses and like, I don't even know. What am I doing right now? Okay, anyway. What I was going to say was, I don't know if this is relatable or not, but I go through time periods where I don't read, and then I hit a point where I'm like, I feel like I'm getting dumber. And not necessarily dumber, but like my thought to word process or something is dumber. So then I actually have a thought where I'm like, okay, you can tell, Jess, it's time to read a book or two. I should finish. I read The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I should finish reading that series. That will probably help. Yeah, but I also get in the mood for reading old literature, old Gothic literature. So I might try to do that. Or I'll just pick up something a little lighter. Maybe I'll read... I haven't read very much Anne Rice. Maybe I'll read another Anne Rice book. Maybe I'll read the next book in the Vampire Chronicles. I'm on Tale of the Body Thief, and I've been told that one can be a hard read. I don't know if that's true or not. I've read things that people thought were hard reads, and they weren't. And I've read things that people thought were great, and I was like, ugh, I didn't really like that writing style, so I don't know. Either way, I need to read a book. The other thing I had in mind was I've done a lot of pieces lately, and I don't do a ton of erasing, so I have a lot of gray, I don't want to say super flat, but there aren't stronger whites, I guess is the best way to say that. Because I hardly ever erase lately, I've noticed. I haven't been doing that. So I also haven't been putting in really black blacks. So I want to put in some good blacks, and I want to actually erase some light bits. My first goal with this piece was to actually do a good solid piece. I've had a lot of mishaps lately, and now that I've got to my charcoal, I plan on actually being able to do a solid piece. Okay, I also have Show and Tell 2.0. On my primer, I've shown you guys a number of times. The past couple months, it's been really difficult for me to find it in white. I'm not entirely sure why that is. It isn't made here in the US, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I did go on a site, and they had a little bit left. I got my white. This is my usual. But I noticed they had clear. And I'm kind of intrigued by the concept of clear. That's given me a few ideas. The other thing that I've done in the past with two of my old paintings, I have a hard time calling them drawings, so I'm just going to keep calling them paintings, especially if I start putting oil paint over them. And the way I just smear with my fingers most of the time, paintings, right? Right, okay? Now that that's out of the way. For two of the color applications in the past, I've done my charcoal on top of the white primer. And then I've sprayed a few times. And then I've put this clear gesso over it. And then I oil painted on top of that. And that works all right. So I should have unwrapped these. Anyway, there we go. Anyways, so this is what I've used in the past for that. But I was wondering, this works, so I can just use this, but I want to see this primer in clear. And then I noticed they had another one. Take the plastic off. Liquitex clear gesso. So I have this clear primer. This one is decently clear, so I know I can use it, but I'm wondering how clear, because you know, not all clears are created equal. So we've got to experiment with these two. And then the oil paint. Would it be terribly bad to break up a picture in 2 different videos? Because I could do the gray, this one, and the color, next one. Though sometimes my brain moves on fast, so I might have that in mind, and I'll get a spark of inspiration for something else, especially after grounding myself, you know. Maybe I can get back on track. I can focus in a little bit more. That'd be nice. Anyway, so this is after it being sprayed, and spraying does dull it, as I've said in the past. So I'm gonna see about making some darks darker real fast. All right, that's where I'm gonna stop for now. I might look at it later as per usual and tweak little tweaks. So yes, thank you guys for hanging out with me again, and I will see you next time. Bye.